What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Eddie Live Show, episode number 204, and I'm coming to you live from my mom's house in Canada.
Hello, I'm the mom.
So one of the biggest requests we had was, what's your story about Canada? How did your family get from Canada, from Mexico to Canada? Tell me about your mom. Tell me about the food. Tell me about the cooking. So I'm actually in Canada right now, and we will be here interviewing my mom here for another week or so, or two. Can't really remember how many days are left. Bit of a blur. But this is my mom.
Hi, welcome to my home. Mi casa es su casa.
Thanks, Mom, so much. So, maybe you can introduce yourself before we start.
Well, my name is Rosa Gonzalez. I'm Eddie's mom. I'm from Mexico, like everybody knows. I've been here for almost 50 years. This country's been very good to us. First of all, I like to say how incredibly proud. Okay. And I do this all the time, so and it's okay because this is who I am. I'm incredibly proud of my son, of all his accomplishments and all his achievements and everything that he has done. And I just love him very much. I wish he lived closer, but it is what it is, and that's how life is.
Thanks, Mom. Love you. Okay, well, I'll give you a hug later because we're going to be hugging every 10 seconds.
No, we can't do that.
Okay, so let's talk about the story. People always ask about it. People always mention to me, they're like, oh, they think I'm American, and they always say, how did your family skip the USA? Because usually Mexicans will go to the USA, they'll immigrate to the USA to work, but we skipped the whole USA and we came to Canada. So maybe we can start a little bit at the beginning and talk about, maybe where you were born, and then right from there, moving to Guadalajara.
Sounds good. I was born in Ciudad Juárez, Chihuahua, which is up north of the Republic, and I was about 7 years old when we moved to Guadalajara. I don't remember very much from the first 7 years of my life. I went to school, I suppose, but I do remember once we lived in Guadalajara, and my father was a tailor, so he moved his business to Guadalajara, and they were very successful. And I am from a family of 12. I am the fourth from the bottom up. So it was a very large family, and my dad was the only one that was working, so he had to go and seek work in a bigger place, and that's what we did. So we live in Guadalajara, and
that's where you grew up mostly, right?
That's where I grew up.
So you started from Guadalajara.
Yes.
So at age, what did you say? Age 7?
From 7 to 7 to 18. I was 18 years old when I immigrated to Canada. Sounds good. So at that time, Ed's dad was my we live in the same block.
Yeah. So you guys were neighbors on Violeta Street, right?
Violeta Street. And that's how I met Ed's dad. And we became boyfriend and girlfriend around 12, 13 years old. I was very young. I know.
El Frijol, the musician was too charming, right?
He was very charming, and my mom said not to do that, but you know how it is. When they tell you don't eat chocolate, you want the chocolate. And so we became girlfriend and boyfriend. And then his sister came to Canada. Yeah. And he was a struggling musician. He wasn't really working. And so his sister said, hey, did you want to come? Alcan is hiring. His sister lived in Manitoba first, and then she moved from Manitoba to Kitimat because of Alcan. And at that time, they were hiring everybody from everywhere because it was the town was just beginning to bloom. And Kitimat is a very small community. Yep. And so him and his mom came, and his dad and his niece, and lived with his sister for a while. Meantime, I stayed home. And then my daughter was born, and he went back, and we got married. And we, a year later, I immigrated here. I was 18 years old, and I had
Okay.
a 1-year-old daughter, and we were. That's how we came here.
The short version, right?
The short version, because there's a long version,
It's a
but
very
that's the short
long
one.
version. So basically, we actually, the last time I came, I actually asked you and I asked Dad, because I actually didn't really know the story. I thought that Dad's older brother, my Tio Chava, actually came here first and then brought everybody. But then when this year, especially 2-3 weeks ago, I got to see Tio John, right, in Victoria, and he told me he went down. He's a Canadian. He went down to Acapulco for a vacation, and he met my Tia Chela, right?
That's how the story begins from all of us.
It was it's a little bit random, actually.
Yeah.
But he met my Tia Chela, and he went down, met her on the beach. She couldn't speak English, but one of the cousins, someone could speak English.
Yeah.
And then, they got together. They kind of fell in love. He went back to Canada to get everything ready, and she wrote down on a piece of paper her address.
Yes, that story, I just learned that too a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah, so they just told me the story, and he had this little piece of paper, and a few months later, he flew down to Mexico, and he was walking around with, this paper.
He did not speak any Spanish.
Zero Spanish, and they didn't really speak much English, and then everybody said, hey, there's this... this Canadian guy, un gringo, right? This gringo, there's this white guy walking around with a piece of paper looking for the address. So they looked out the window and it was him.
Yeah.
And then he brought my Tia Chela to Canada. She thought, wow, this is a nice place. She called the brothers, come up to Canada. And I guess, the rest is history. They brought you.
Yes.
Dad came up, he worked. Mm-hmm. And then Alcan at that time was paying, they're still paying really well.
Yeah, it is.
But at that time, 45 years ago, something like that.
45 years ago, 47 years ago.
Still paying, quite good money. And then, so he came up, and we have a dog in the background as well.
Yeah, and his name is Thor.
That's awesome. Yeah. I just learned that story this time, right?
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
He's not going to be quiet.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. No, yeah, so that's good. So you came from Mexico, right?
Yes.
To Kitimat.
To Kitimat, straight to Kitimat.
Okay.
At that time, Guadalajara was still a huge city. It's a big city with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we came to a little town with about 10,000 people.
Yeah, 8 even. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the best stories is when I came in February of 1977, right? So you come from Mexico, you're very young, you're very inexperienced, you don't really know much, but you have a baby though. So I was all done up, and I had high heels, and I had a beautiful coat, and it's February, and it's snowing. I didn't know.
So you got a picture coming from Mexico, all dressed up, baby, high heel shoes in Canadian winter.
Mm-hmm. So what happens? First, I'm coming down the plane, and first step into the soil, boop, I just fell. And good thing that I held on to my daughter, but I did, and I thought, what the hell am I doing here?
It's cold, there's snow everywhere, right?
It's snow. People are very friendly in here, and they're very nice, so everybody helped me. But that was my first experience in Canada.
It's cold, broken heel, fall into the snow, but save the baby.
Absolutely, right? Because you're a mom. What does a mom do? Take care of their babies.
So let's go a little bit further back and say, when Dad was here and he called you and he said, hey, you're moving to Canada, what was your first reaction? Because none of us has ever been to Canada. I wasn't even born, but no one had been to Canada. Yeah. He said, hey, Rosa, we're coming. Get ready.
I was very young, and I was very much in love. So I thought, you know what? Yeah, let's start a new life. Let's a new beginning, a better life for our children. So let's do it. I was very scared. Again, young, inexperienced, moving to a country where you don't speak the language. You can't. You don't understand what they're telling you. And just thought, it is what it is, and let's do this. And I did.
So the first reaction was, okay, let's go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's take. Okay.
First
That's
thing
nice.
was, it would be a better country, more opportunity for our children. So yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So what were some of the first, I mean, you told your story, right?
Yes.
About stepping in this, maybe breaking your heel or whatever.
Yes.
Falling down.
Yeah.
So what were your first impressions? Okay. You got out, it's snowing, and then I'm guessing Dad picked you up, right?
Yeah, he picked me up.
Picked you guys up,
in
and then
Vancouver,
he drove you. And then
Yeah.
what was that? Did you drive to Kitimat or did
No,
you fly
we flew.
back? Fly,
We flew.
okay. So in Kitimat, so you get into Kitimat, and then it's probably even more snow than,
it was
Vancouver.
way more snow.
Yeah.
And my first expression was like, wow.
Okay.
And I touched the snow and it was so beautiful and so cold and I loved it. I loved it. It was beautiful. The first couple of snowfalls were fantastic.
Okay.
But after that it was like, oh my God, it's never gonna stop snowing.
You're in
Because in the 70s we had this snow so much that the snow got all the way to the roof of the houses.
Mm-hmm.
So basically you have to do almost like a cave, like a tunnel to get out of your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and obviously it's cold.
Oh, absolutely. I'm from Guadalajara, which is the weather is similar as Taipei,
Okay.
where it's hot.
Okay, yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
beautiful.
Okay.
And I was cold. I was
Yeah.
freezing 24/7.
Yeah.
24/7. I
Okay.
was so cold.
Okay. So then you came in, Dad was working, you were at home, had a baby.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
Which is Ely, right?
Which is silly, yes.
Obviously, no one spoke English. Dad must have spoke some kind of English. Or Dad spoke
your
English.
dad, yes, your dad was speaking English at the time because he was working.
Okay, yeah.
And a funny story, my daughter, she was a year and a half, almost 2 when we got here, and we lived in an apartment building. We lived in the basement, in the first floor, and the kids had a big playroom where they used to go and play, and my daughter spoke no English at all whatsoever, but she started talking very young, and she went to the playroom, and I thought, oh, I don't know if I should let her go, but in a matter of half an hour,
Mexican girl, couple years old.
Mexican girl, couple years old, didn't speak English,
Zero English.
zero
Okay.
English, and a matter of, I don't know, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, I don't hear anything. So I go into the playroom and check and see what is she doing. She had everybody lined up,
Yeah.
and she was telling everybody what to do. At that time, I thought, this was the right choice. This is a good thing.
She was there, you were saying, and she was kind of telling everybody, you go there, you go
Yes.
there. She organized the whole show, right?
Yes, she did. And that's my daughter.
That's not surprising if you've met my sister. So she's very strong character.
Very
yeah,
strong
she's awesome.
character. Yeah, very smart girl, yes.
Super smart, kind of the smartest one I think in the family.
No.
Did the best in school and
Everybody's
stuff
smart
like
in their
that.
own way. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what about now? You're in Canada, right? You have a little girl. You don't speak English. So what about? Were there any kind of like a cultural differences or anything? Obviously, two
my
different
God.
cultures, Canada and Mexico. So how are you feeling at that point?
Absolutely. I was very overwhelmed. I'm not going to lie. First 6 months, I cry every day. I wanted to go home.
Like a culture shock.
Mexican people are very, very close-knitted families. And here, my sister-in-law was living in Kitimat, but she was far away from where I lived.
Okay.
And because of the weather, I couldn't
Yeah.
go see her very often.
Okay.
So I just wanted to go home. I
Yeah.
wanted to go home. I thought,
Felt
oh my
alone?
God, I felt alone.
Okay.
Nothing. I went to the supermarket. I looked around. Nothing that I could recognize.
No
At that
tortilla,
time,
no frijoles,
nothing.
right? Yeah.
Nothing.
Okay.
At that time, there was not even cilantro.
Not even cilantro.
Not
Okay.
even cilantro.
Okay.
So I did the best I could with what I knew how.
Which is actually kind of the secret to our restaurant because, I know there are other restaurants and everybody complains, oh, you can't find chiles, you can't find achotes, stuff like that. But actually, we don't use any of that because at that time, Canada didn't have that. And now Taiwan doesn't really, they're slowly getting some stuff. But at that time, when we started 15 years ago, also, there was none of that available. So we have to get creative with different seasoning and
Yes.
powders and stuff.
Yes.
Make the best we can. So that's people always ask me how we're able to do that.
Yeah, well,
and that's because of you.
We
Yeah.
had no choice,
Yeah.
right? I didn't know how to cook anything else but the food that my mom taught me.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it wasn't a lot of it either. I always was around mom and I helped her cook, and my mom was really creative. She never had a recipe. You ask her, how do you do this? And she goes, oh, a little pinch of salt, a little pinch of this, and a little pinch of that, and everything she ever did
Yeah.
was amazing. Up
Yeah,
to
sure.
these days, my rice is pretty good, but not like my mom's.
100%. We all feel the mom's food is the best. Even coming back here, it's just like, some of the stuff we make still in the restaurant, but also it's like, oh, it's still better when mom makes it, right?
Aw.
Of course.
It's because it's the mama season.
The mama touch, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So you're in Canada, right? So how the way of life here, and it's going to be very different from the way of life in Mexico.
Oh.
Like in Mexico, you go outside, there's tortillas and mercados and stuff like
yeah.
that. The neighbors.
Oh.
And then Canada is almost like almost opposite.
Totally opposite.
So how was that?
Totally
How was that
opposite.
situation?
Like I said, I cried a lot. I wanted to go home. I had good neighbors though. They were very patient and they will come and they will try to help.
Okay.
But again, the language barrier was there. So we used a lot of hand language. When you can do something, you resource to what you can. So
Yep.
that was your hands.
Okay.
And but it was terrible. It was very, very terrible. Like I said, going to the supermarket, one of my memories that I'll never forget, going to the supermarket, and I wanted to make tuna sandwiches, right?
Yeah.
So tuna, you open a can of tuna and you do your sandwich. You throw your stuff in there and you do it.
Yeah.
So I'm picking up, going through aisle to aisle. The stores in here are different. They're big, right? And I come from a place where you go either to the corner store or you go to the markets where
Yep.
everything is
Like
open,
open
right?
market,
Open market.
night market, day
Yes,
market. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, and here you go to a supermarket. So I went and I was looking around and I see a picture of tuna, of fish.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, so this is tuna. And I went home and I opened it and I smelled it and I thought, oh, this tuna.
This tuna stinks.
This tuna, this doesn't smell like tuna.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, that's Canadian tuna. That's okay. I'm gonna give it a try. So I do my seasoning in the tuna, and I made a sandwich, and I grabbed it, and I took a bite of it, and I thought, oh my God. Well, later on in life, I found out that it was cat food.
Cat food.
It wasn't tuna.
Yes, So that's funny too.
So that's how hard it was.
So if anyone's ever tried cat food, they probably know. They probably had the same experience.
Or
but-
even just smell it, it's terrible. Yeah.
So you had the cat food. Wow,
That
yeah.
was one of the biggest shock, right?
like a culture shock.
Culture
like, oh,
shock. Like, oh my
Get a
God.
can of tuna.
Yeah, and I just sat on the couch and I cried because, oh my God, I can't feed this to my children. What am I going to do?
Oh my God.
Right?
That's funny. And the baby's just like, ooh,
Yeah, well, she's hungry, and I wasn't
hungry.
gonna give it to her. That's for sure.
No cat food for the baby. Yeah.
No.
So obviously now you're there, you're cooking, but how did you implement kind of the culture from Mexico into like the upbringing of the kids? Obviously at home, you spoke Spanish with us,
Absolutely,
right?
yes. That was
So
the only thing we can speak.
Yeah. So what were kind of the other things you brought that you feel that you brought to keep your heritage here, raising us? I always tell people when we were at home, when we grew up, in the house was like Mexico. It's food, and there's aguacate on the table, and chiles, and everything. But then when we go outside, it's like Canada.
Yes.
So how did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I at that time I decided that you guys were going to speak Spanish.
Okay.
And you guys were going to have the same roots that I did, because those were the only ones I knew.
Yeah, of course.
And outside the house, everybody spoke English, but just crossing that door, it was strict Spanish.
Yeah, yeah.
It was only Spanish. And there was times that these guys will we want to do things, and I said, "You're not going. You're not gonna go." And they'll tell me, "You don't understand, Mom.
Okay.
You don't understand.
Well.
It's because you're Mexican. You don't understand." And I said, "I don't care. This is my wooden spoon. And if I said no, you're not going."
It's no. Yeah. So we got a lot of wooden spoons.
That's how
we got
it
a lot
was.
of wooden spoons for sure.
Oh,
And
yes.
We graduated from the spoon all the way up to the broom, to the broom, and of course, being in Canada, we got the hockey stick.
Oh my God!
Right?
Yeah, little hockey sticks.
Yeah, the hockey sticks. And
But I wasn't a mean mom, though.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, it
I
was
wasn't
good.
a mean mom. I was
It was
strict,
good. It
but
was
I wasn't
good.
a mean mom.
The chancla, right? We
Oh,
had
la
the
chancla.
We of course had the chancla.
The best.
Yeah, it was almost like a boomerang.
Oh
you know?
yeah. And I was really good at aiming them. Just.
And good ears. Anytime we got in trouble,
Oh yes.
walked away, and we would mumble anything, and it'd be like, "What?" Then the
Absolutely.
chancla comes around the corner, like boom. Like
Yep.
what happened? Oh, good aim. Yeah.
Yes.
So do you have any maybe stories of like maybe when maybe you went to meet some people? Like I know in Canada doing like a potluck or something.
Oh,
so you brought
okay.
something where
Okay.
they're like, oh, you bring a food, you bring a dish.
So you were born in 1978.
Okay.
He was born in the summer, so that was a really the hottest year ever, but it was a good year. Mm-hmm. And then your sister was 4 years old when you were born.
Yeah.
And she was gonna start going to school when she was 5 in kindergarten.
Kindergarten,
right?
grade 5 years old.
So
Yeah.
she volunteered me for everything when she started kindergarten.
Okay.
And I will take you with me. And Mrs. Marsh.
Mrs. Marsh. I remember Mrs. Marsh. Yeah.
She was the teacher, the English teacher. And when she met me, she really liked me. So she started doing classes for me, and I will take you. I will take my baby, I'll wrap him up, and I'll take him. I'll take you with me. And I was taking classes with her, and she was one of the nicest people I ever met.
Okay. So you're there, you're studying English?
I'm studying English.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And
Okay.
and I had my baby.
Mm-hmm.
I had my baby. I'm studying my English, and very basic English, of course, because that's how you start. But she was a wonderful lady, and she really liked you. She really liked you. She was, and I thought, okay, so I like this culture. It's nice.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nice people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you decide to have because when people ask me how I grew up, I always say my culture is kind of like both Mexican and Canadian, right? It's kind of like a buffet. There's some amazing things from Mexico. I always keep that with me, and then also some good things from Canada as well. I keep that with me. So I kind of raised not raised myself, but I think myself we have like a buffet. It's like, oh, I like this from Mexican culture.
Yourself.
I like this from Canadian culture.
Okay.
And so when I meet Canadians, I can definitely relate obviously with Canadians.
Yes.
And also when I meet Mexicans, also I definitely relate with Mexicans. So how did you kind of juggle this? Or did you say, I'm just going to do everything Mexican, and then they learn Canada outside?
Basically, yes. That's what I thought. I wanted you guys to know where I came from, my roots, my growing up, and because you were going to learn the culture in school, the Canadian culture. You were going to meet other people in there. You were going to learn the language in there, but you had your basic roots, your Spanish, they always said, you can take Mexico. You can take the Mexican out of Mexico, but you will never take Mexico.
Yes.
Again, see?
My mom cries. Yeah.
A lot.
So everybody knows that we're back in Canada, and it's the first time I've been back in like 5 years, and so one of the most requested things was, we want to meet your family, I want to meet your mom. So this is a good one so far, so good.
Yep, and this is it. What you see is what you get.
So if you guys like it, don't forget to like and comment below. Let us know what you think.
Absolutely.
Any questions for my mom, let us know. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, right? Okay, so we keep going.
Yeah, absolutely,
right?
Yes.
And
let's do this. I'm loving this.
So one of the things
I feel like a movie star.
you always were a movie star, Mom. So you have Mexico has special and unique holidays.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
oh, yes.
So we got to learn about Canadian holidays here, but also the Mexican holidays. So what are some of the holidays that you said I have to make sure, like for example, in in Taiwan, there is Christmas, but it's not really like a huge Christmas thing. But for us, I make sure we have a little tree and Santa comes to visit.
Yes.
So what are some of the things that you think from Mexico that you said, no, we have to keep this one?
Church, Christmas. I grew up, my parents were very religious, and our tradition was in Christmas, going to church, and after church, we'll have a nice meal, and the doors were open. The doors were open for anybody that wanted to come. We will go and visit people too. After a little while of living in Kirimat, I met a lot of people that spoke Spanish.
Yep.
And then we became a very close-knit community that had more or less the same customs and the same traditions.
Yep.
So we had families of Mexican families, Colombian families that we got all together and we celebrate together.
Yeah.
And the door was open all the time for anybody. Door and food, because food is the base of our roots, right? We had a drink and food. Food, to me, food is the soul. You feed your soul and you're good.
Yeah, no, I always, no, I agree. Like I always think people ask about the culture and stuff.
Yeah.
And I always think, the main thing for me is food. Food is always the culture for me. And I think, it was really nice growing up. I mean, in Canada, but, there was, people from Bolivia and from Chile and from Ecuador and Colombia. And everybody would, when it was somebody's 35th birthday or 40th birthday, we'd go to the house.
We have the celeries.
Yes, the celeri, right? We had them, and then we would go to the house. And one of the things I remember as a kid is the living room. Everybody would move everything outside.
Absolutely.
And the living room became the dance floor.
Oh yes.
All night.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
2 a.m., 3 a.m.
Yes.
Police coming. Doesn't matter.
Yes, I remember.
Police coming. Doesn't matter. Yeah. So I remember that. I remember that was an amazing part of my growing up.
You remember when we all brought blankets and pillows because we never left the house. Everybody stayed there.
That's right. Yeah.
They come and visit us, or we went and visit, and we had everything we brought because we bought all the blankets, and the kids they have a room. Yeah. It was good times.
It was a great time.
Good times.
I wish there's more pictures of that time, but hopefully we can dig some out.
Oh, I'm sure you has some.
You probably has some. Okay.
Yes.
Because I remember it was like a big sleepover where there'd be like 5 or 10 kids just piled into a room.
Oh yeah.
There was no like video game. People would just hang out and chat, see who can stay up the latest.
Yes.
While the parents, everybody was eating and drinking and singing, having a good time.
Yes.
And no one drove home because everyone was drinking. Everyone went to sleep.
Yes.
And I think part of the culture that I like is, if I have a house and you need to sleep, there's no room, there's nowhere to sleep, there's the floor.
There's never no room. There is always.
There's the floor.
My mother used to say, after the door, everything is floor. Everything is bed, sorry. Everything is a bed.
Yeah, so you go in, 5 people, 10 people in a room. I remember going to Mexico as a kid and sleeping at grandma's house, and there's 2-3 people on the bed. Everybody just kind of piled in, and it was as a kid it was awesome. I thought it was the most fun, and I always remembered to tell myself before you go to bed, pick a side, left side or right side, because after that you can't move. You can't move.
You're done. Yeah.
So how long after being here were you guys able to maybe save up enough and then take a trip back home, back to Mexico?
Oh, it took a long time because at that time it was only your dad that was working.
Yeah.
However, we drove. We drove from North Canada all the way to Mexico.
Almost Alaska, where we live. It's almost Alaska.
It's almost Alaska. Yeah. And we drove. So it probably was a couple of years. 3-4 years. And then, we went there when you were 1.5.
Okay.
To baptize you.
I remember
right?
that. Well, I don't remember that, but I've seen the pictures.
Yeah. So that's when we went back.
Okay.
Yeah. And your grandma at that time was living with us. Mm-hmm. And we drove.
Okay.
Yeah. That was crazy.
So
But
we drove that. We drove that time too. I didn't know we drove that time.
Oh yeah, we did at that time.
I remember driving
no.
when we were 12. When I was around 12, grade 6-ish.
That was. You guys were older. Oh no. We used to have very little money, but we made it last.
Gas was cheap, I guess, at the time.
Oh, gas was inexpensive, and I did a lot of sandwiches. I boiled a lot of potatoes and eggs.
Yeah, egg sandwiches, and yes, of course I remember that. Yeah. And I remember trying to stay up. One of the highlights of driving was trying to stay up for Disneyland.
Oh.
Right,
Oh,
here's
shoot.
my dad's there.
Shoot.
Yeah, I said,
shouldn't say that.
Let's go to Disneyland, right? And I mean, my dad was like, we're not going to stop. I said, well, let's at least look at it when we drive by. So I said, okay, I'm sleeping, and then I, try to stay up, try to stay up 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 hours, and then eventually I fall asleep. Wake me up when we get there. My dad's like, yeah, it's okay, no problem. And then I wake up and I'm like, are we there yet? And he's like, oh no, we're at the border already. It was funny. It's funny. It's a funny thing.
Well,
I've actually taken Aaliyah to Disneyland in Japan, and it was okay. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Oh no, it's fine.
But
what I remember more is crossing the border. I remember breaking down in Quartzsite, Arizona. This little town.
That was coming back.
Broke down in Quartzsite, Arizona.
At that time,
yeah. That was good. I remember going through Nogales. Nogales is a city, I guess, that's on both sides.
I don't think Kyle was born then yet.
So I would be in grade 6 or 7. So I think maybe he was a baby. Would we bring a baby?
Okay,
He was
yes,
86.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I remember that we were planning to go back to Mexico for the World Cup, Mexico 86.
Yes.
And then Kyle was born.
85, right? We went to Mexico in 1985.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And the World Cup was going to be in 1986. We are huge soccer fans. My children, very gifted. And always, the three of them play soccer really good. Head coach for the longest time.
Did, yeah.
We actually even took a team to Mexico. We fundraised and we took a team and it was great. Remember?
Yeah, that, of course.
That was
amazing.
awesome.
That was one of the best memories. And I think last night we had the Mendozas over. And,
oh, yes. I haven't seen them for a long time. Yes.
It was awesome to see them. And the oldest one is one of my good friends from school. And the youngest one I coached. So it was cool to see both of them.
Yeah, he came to Mexico with us.
He came to Mexico, That was
wonderful children. Really good boys, yes.
Yeah, I love that. So I love having grown up here because you get to learn all the cultures of everybody. Yes. I love the Filipino food from Jim's mom. I love, the Portuguese food. I love all the food from here. So it's pretty amazing.
And that's how I make a lot of my best friends now.
Yeah.
My friends through soccer, right?
Yeah.
I volunteered for about 25 years. We did a lot of volunteering. My brother used to come and bring a couple of teams from Mexico, and that's where you go with him, and they will plan the trip. And our job on this side was get the kids to get billeted. At that time, it was okay for the kids to stay in other people's houses. Yeah. So they got billeted, and
it's not it's not a thing anymore.
Not anymore.
I didn't know
a lot
that.
of the things have changed in that way. But we'll meet him in Vancouver.
Yep.
And you'll go with him.
Memories, yeah.
You'll go with him right away. And I remember the first time that I said, "Well, you Tio needs someone to translate."
Yeah.
And you went like, I don't want to do that. And I said,
so quiet and shy.
This guy?
Very quiet.
Oh my God.
Very quiet and shy.
Oh my God. Yeah. This guy, now that I looked at him and he does this, I go, wow, what the hell did that come from? He was always the quietest of the kids. I have 3 kids. Very quiet, very shy. My daughter was always a very outspoken one.
True.
And she was a leader, she was a spoken, and she still is.
Yes.
He was so quiet and so shy. I mean, the longest time he will just kind of hide under my leg when people talk to him when he was a little guy.
Jeez.
And now to see what he's doing is wow.
Yeah.
And Kyle too, my youngest son, he's a fireman.
Yeah.
And he was very quiet when he was younger.
Yep.
But through sports and everything, these guys became like, wow.
It's kind of crazy how that works, right?
Amazing human beings, absolutely.
So I was okay. It's really a good thing. We're gonna end up crying the whole time.
We're not doing that.
So we're not gonna do that. But so when did you start to feel like, okay, I'm a Mexican living in Canada, or and then start to feel like, okay, now I start to feel a little bit more. I have found my people here. I'm starting to feel more like Canadian, like a Mexican Canadian, as opposed to just I'm a Mexican living in Canada.
Okay.
Was there a point where you felt okay?
The first person I met when I came here, I'm jumping back and forth.
Yep.
But the first person I met when I came here was Mrs. Remedios.
Okay, Debbie Remedios'
mom.
Also a Portuguese immigrant, right? Yeah.
A Portuguese immigrant.
Yeah.
The most amazing woman I ever met.
Okay.
She took us into her home, and she would make food for you guys, and she'll say
Portuguese food. Very good.
She'll send it to us, and the dad, Mr. Remedios, too. He was he planted his vegetables and all that stuff, and they took us into their home like we were part of their family, and that's when I thought I can do this. I can do this.
Yeah. So that was a moment that
was the moment that I thought, okay, I'm going to embrace this culture, because seeing Mrs. Remedios, the way she developed her friendships, it just inspired me to embrace the culture, and embrace what I was living, and that was my embracement time.
So for those people that don't know, we're from a small town called Kitimat, and there's a very, very large amount of immigrants there.
Oh, yeah.
And a very, very large Portuguese population.
Yes.
And most of them are from the island, just off, right? From the Azores. And so also a lot of my best friends growing up were from, Portuguese family. And I found a lot of similarities with the Portuguese and the Mexican cultures, like the family and the food, and invite people in, and as soon as you walk in, there's food.
Right away, right, hijo?
I remember that was awesome.
Yes, food and Mr. Remedios wine.
Yes. So one of the things that I learned was, I guess a lot of people from the Azores in Portugal, it's a lot of farms and farmers there. So a big population, big percentage of people that came here are from the island, right? And so when they come here, the garage turns into half sausage factory, half winery, and then the backyard turns into a garden. So potatoes and carrots, and very, very, very self-sustaining.
Absolutely, yes.
Before self-sustaining was cool, right?
Yes.
And very, 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 very cool culture, very amazing. So
before organic was organic, these guys were organic.
Yes, amazing. I would go to one of my best friend's house to watch wrestling or to play video games, and as soon as I would walk in, Jeff's mom would say, shout out to Jeff Amaral and his family.
Absolutely.
Fantastic family. She would see, oh, you're coming, oh, you're going to stay for a while. I said, yeah, we're going to stay, play some video games. And then maybe an hour later, as soon as she knew we were staying, she would start to make Portuguese sweetbread, which is super labor intensive.
Absolutely.
From scratch, she starts making
it at that time.
She starts making it. About an hour goes by, hour and a half goes by, and you start to smell, and I said, whoa, what is that smell? And Jeff would say, oh, my mom is making sweetbread.
Yes.
So pretty amazing.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
She would come out and just, this fresh baked sweetbread. I once got the recipe from a Portuguese friend of mine, and it's like, it is massive amount of work.
Yes.
And the bread is amazing. So I was really cool. It was really nice. Another time, getting ready for a high school dance, we're going down, we're drinking some wine or whatever, getting ready to go to the dance. And my buddy Denny, his dad came down with his arm, we had prosciutto and cheese just kind of tucked in his shoulder. And he said, hey, what do you guys want some of this? And I said, what is that, ham?
Yeah, we
and
never had that.
Oh, what? And he started to shave the cheese and the prosciutto for us. And I tried it, and I thought, holy, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So from then on, I'm a huge fan of prosciutto. We ended up not even leaving the house. house because the food was amazing. I said, forget the dance. I'm going to stay here. I'm going
Yeah.
to drink wine with the dad, have a cheese, prosciutto. Amazing.
Yeah, another beautiful family.
Yeah, the Barcelos
Yes, the
family,
Barcelos
amazing.
family.
And it's funny
The
because
Amaral, the Barcelos, the Guerreros.
exactly. So amazing people.
Eduarda.
So there's too many to
Yeah,
mention them all.
Too many to mention.
Too many,
them.
but yes, the Portuguese families in
The
Kitimat,
Mellos,
amazing.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
So from now on, actually, even in Taiwan, when somebody starts to maybe import prosciutto, I will buy it. And it's funny because my daughter loves Mexican, she loves Thai, she loves Indian. Of course, one of her favorite snacks is prosciutto, and she had some. And one day she had a little pack. She took prosciutto and cheese to her school, and all the Taiwanese kids were like, "Whoa, what is this?" Similar to what I felt when I had that for the first time. It was good. Very nice.
Very good. Very awesome. Very good memories.
Really nice, right? So, how do you think, what is different about, okay, we were born and raised here. How do you think things would have been different if Dad didn't take the job, if Dad stayed in Mexico and we stayed there and we were raised there? How do you think things would have been different?
I think it would have been a big difference.
Sure, yeah.
A big difference because you have to be very well educated to have a good job over there.
In Mexico, yeah.
In Mexico, the pay is not the greatest.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, and we were young, so we had high school, little school, and here in this country gives you the opportunity to grow and to learn, and. Yeah, I think I did the right choice. Seeing you guys who you have become, all of you, the three of them.
Yeah.
It's just the greatest pleasure in my life.
Okay, wow, Mom. Thank you so much. No, it's great.
We're not crying.
We're not crying. We're not going to cry. So, were there any can you picture, like you're talking about the Remedios family, right? Are there any friendships that you made that were just that you could stick out for you that said, yes, you talked about the Remedios already?
Oh my God!
Some friendships that are
so
that's it.
Many.
This is it. I'm in the right place.
So many, many.
Can you pick maybe one or two?
The Dos Santos, the Mellos, the Guerreros. So many to mention. We again through soccer and through volunteering, I met wonderful families where they weren't just they weren't just friends. They took us as a family.
Yeah, they took us in for sure.
The type of person that the people that you could just go walk in there, and just you knew, and good or bad, the door was always open.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just too many of them.
Amazing. Too many.
Too many.
Yeah. No, again.
The Gutierrez.
Our
all
cousins,
them,
yeah.
right? They're cousins.
We had some family here, right? A little bit.
Later on, yes, we did. Yeah.
Which helps a lot, right?
Yeah.
I grew up with some cousins here, which was nice, right? Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. So I think, are there any moments where you think, sort of, from coming up until maybe now, or maybe a little bit earlier than now, maybe some it's gonna be a tough one. Some of the proudest moments you've had? Wow. I mean, can you answer? Okay. I mean, some moments that you're like, okay, let's, any moment, when we took the kids to Mexico, it was huge, right?
Yeah, it was huge. That was one of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
This guy's graduation because
I wasn't very good in school.
No.
So yeah, I thought maybe this guy's not going to graduate.
No. Their graduation, their achievements, their everything is just like I can just pick one.
Okay.
It's too many of them.
Okay.
and all of them have to do with you guys. So these guys were amazing children. They, like I said, amazing human beings now.
Yeah, it's nice. I'm really happy to come here and be able to talk to you and also talk to Ile.
Yeah.
Also get to learn some new tricks because, can refresh the menu a little bit.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll be doing this again from the restaurant, maybe early next year.
Oh, yes.
Maybe Chinese New Year.
That's the plan. I want to see all of you guys in there.
Yeah, so you guys can come down around February-ish, hopefully.
Yes, we'll have some margaritas, everybody.
Margaritas for everybody, yeah.
Yes.
So we'll have maybe one or two more questions, and we'll say, for people that are looking, like now, I think we were the first or one of the first maybe Mexican families to immigrate this far north, right? So now more are starting to come,
Yes.
I think, right? It
Yeah.
seems like. And so do you have any maybe advice for people that were maybe in your situation when you were, starting to come to Mexico? You were 18, or 16, starting to come, making the move. You're coming to Canada, or maybe to another country. Do you have any advice for those people that are thinking about, okay, maybe they see this, maybe they say, oh, you know what? Maybe I will take the job in Korea or who knows where. Right?
Well, at the beginning, it's a lot of struggle.
Yeah.
And it's very hard. It's not easy. It's not easy to move to another country where you really don't have anything or anybody. But you have to do it. Life is there for us to take
Yeah.
to take it, and it's there. So we got to do it, and you got to do it. And you're gonna struggle because nothing comes for free, and nothing comes with no struggle. But life is good. Take a chance.
Okay.
Do it.
Beautiful. Take a chance. Okay.
Yeah.
So last question. I mean, is there anything that you want to add? That maybe we missed a story or something somewhere, you want to add something about maybe living here or even going to Taiwan, your experience in Taiwan?
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
I really loved it. When I went to Taiwan, my granddaughter was born. That was another cultural shock because of the
1 month thing?
The 1 month thing.
The
right?
yids, yes.
We don't have that. So for me not to be able to take my granddaughter and grab the sunshine was very different because, again, right?
Yeah.
Different cultures.
It's a very old tradition in Taiwan.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but that was one of the ones that I thought, okay. So, but it was good. It was good. It was very good. I met a lot of very nice people. I also, a lot of very good food. And the weather is fantastic. The country is amazing. It actually feels like Mexico. Mm-hmm. It feels like Mexico. The night markets.
Yeah, the night markets.
The guy with the purses. Remember?
The sugar cane.
Oh, the sugar cane.
Yeah.
The orange, freshly squished orange.
Mm-hmm. A lot of that reminds me of Mexico. So when I went, people always say, oh, did you have the culture shock? And I said, actually, not really, because it feels comfortable.
It doesn't. So we are. My husband Joe and I are gonna go and visit Taiwan this coming year. Absolutely, he's looking forward to it.
Okay.
And it's gonna be good.
It's okay. So you have to promise that you're gonna come, right?
Yes, we've been discussing it, and he says, "Yeah, Rosie, let's do it."
Okay, perfect. So you guys will get to meet my mom in person.
Absolutely.
I would say probably around after Christmas, February,
February,
Chinese
March.
New Year time, something like that.
Yes.
And we'll do this again, and we have
absolutely, and we can have some margaritas, some songs.
Yes, my mom is a great cook.
I love to sing.
Perfect.
I love to sing. I love to cook.
Yes, we have karaoke nights there that I host.
What?
That I host, yeah.
Oh, that's it.
You
Get
can
some
host
chente.
that. Yeah, some chente.
Get some chente there, and your mama's there.
Perfect. We invite all the Mexicans in Taiwan.
I'm gonna get Joe, my husband, to start learning some of the songs so we can sing. I'll dress him as a mariachi. That'll be fun.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
So thank you, Mom, for this. I appreciate it.
No, thank you, mijo.
Thank you guys for watching. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. We will definitely be doing more interviews with my mom in the future.
Absolutely.
Because she is really the person that connected all the cultures from Canada to Mexico and then Taiwan with the restaurant.
I just remember something.
Yeah, do one more. Yeah.
Okay, when this guy was a little guy, our thing on Sundays, we'll go to church, right? And each one of the kids will have a chance to come with me to the store and pick their cereal and help me grocery shopping. The other two hated it. They did not want to do it, but he always wanted to. He always did.
Yeah.
Always did. And he was the one that was around the kitchen when I was cooking. Mm-hmm. Right?
True.
My daughter is a good cook. My younger son is a fantastic cook too. But this guy was always around. He was always looking and see what I was doing, and I'll say, okay, taste this. And he'll be the one that says, oh, Mom, maybe a little bit more salt. oh, mom, this is too salty. But yeah, since
Yeah,
you were
yeah,
very
yeah.
little, you really like that.
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
I like good food, right? So
Yes.
I remember one more quick story was we always made tortillas all the time.
Yes.
And one time I remember, I don't remember how old I was, but you came home, late from work, and you were tired. There was food ready, but we needed to make tortillas.
Yes.
And you bought the frozen ones from the store.
Yeah.
And then you made them, and we were eating, and then we started to eat the frozen tortilla, and everybody's like, what's going on with this tortilla?
Yes.
And then we thought, what happened here?
And that's when they got tortillas. This is
Yes.
like way later in life.
Yes.
These guys were already older. You were in high
Yeah,
school.
for sure.
Yeah,
we had
because
them,
there
and
was
we thought,
nothing.
because the homemade ones are amazing.
Yes.
And then we thought, what's going on? Tortilla's not so good. And then we talked, and he said, well, I didn't have time, so we bought it. So from then on, then we learned how to press and how to make the tortillas
Yes.
ourselves. So from that day, we always had fresh. So
Yes.
that's why with the restaurant, we insist on having fresh tortillas, because I'm not a big fan of like the frozen ones.
No. And I have to say something. This guy makes better flour tortillas than I do. Okay.
Wow.
and he got that from my mom.
That's right. My
My mom was an amazing tortilla maker.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of the recipes come from you, mostly from you, but we also put some
Absolutely.
from grandmas from both sides.
Yes.
So yeah, so we try to bring all the good stuff that we can bring for everybody. Yeah, I appreciate it, and thank you, Mom, so much.
No, thank you, mijo.
Thank you guys for watching, and I'm probably gonna go cry.
Love
with my
this
mom.
guy. Love this guy.
Okay, thanks, Mom. Okay, thanks, Mom.
Love this guy.
Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you for watching.
We will see you guys next week.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Don't forget.
We're gonna do a lot of this because I feel like a movie star.
Yes. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.